I forgot.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tailgate Talk. We're your hosts, David, Nick, and Joseph. Boys, side of the people.
Howdy.
Hello, go Mets.
Go Mets, baby.
Yep. As we record right now, the Mets are currently up 3-1 in the top of the fifth. Um, so both of my co-hosts here want to clearly get through this as quickly as they possibly can. So I'm going to drag this out for a full hour.
I
Oh
got the
my
Mets in the
God.
Because it
background,
brings
so
me joy.
Be prepared for a lot of David talking then.
yeah.
hmm So, so with that, another great week of college football. Lots of fun. I had a blast. Hope you guys did too. Shall we get into it? Nick, do you want to get us started off on our winner and losers of the week?
Yeah, I just was talking to a couple buddies of mine who also enjoy placing wagers on these on college football, and we were just laughing at the fact that Ashton Jaunty is minus 110 to score 3 touchdowns. And
He
that's
is
just
so good.
ridiculous. That
He
is
is so
insane.
good.
He if he played like on the East Coast, because Boise State's a good power like group of five. If he played on the East Coast, I genuinely think he's the front runner for Heisman. But
I'm just gonna call it now, real quick. I think he's gonna be a Dallas Cowboy next year, so that's gonna
I
be
could see
fun.
that. I could see that. But dude's electric. I think I forgot this absurd stat, but in like 4 or 5 games, he's already got like either 16 or 18 touchdowns. It's insane. Um, So whatever Boise State's plan is just to pound the rock, and he is just it's unstoppable what they got rolling on offense. So anytime that someone's minus 110 to score three, I think you're a winner in my book.
I'll go next. So I have two winners, but one is I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. Ryan Williams this
Oh my
past week.
God.
I know we okay, so we haven't talked about it. It was game of the week, probably game of the last like 5 years. It was unbelievable from start to finish. I watched it while having a few adult beverages. It was fantastic. It was a great night. But Ryan Williams,
Thanks for on Lord.
17 years old, unbelievable. And that's not against like just any defense. That's against Georgia's defense, which is very, very good. Say what you will about Georgia, say what you will about Carson Beck and their offense and whatever, but their defense is still one of the top defenses in the country. And he just made them look silly out there. So that's the first one. Keep it short, sweet, simple to the point.
Really quick before you go to your second one, before you
Yeah,
go,
go
did
ahead.
you guys know that he is the cousin of Serena Williams?
I did not know
Did hear
that.
about that.
So I mean, whatever is in the blood of that family, oh my God, like
Yeah.
just
I need to
freaks.
get whatever I need to get whatever Kool-Aid they have going over there in the Joseph household. Um, but the second winner for me is the service academies. I saw I saw like a few highlights and then I scrolled on Instagram to like the third slide, and it said like, oh, the service academies could both play for a chance at the college football playoff. And I was like, how is that possible? And then if you actually look at it, like I think Army's or Navy's only difficult game is Notre Dame. I don't even think Army plays Notre Dame. Army could legitimately go be the group of five spot. And it's not like they are running the triple option, but I don't know if you've seen the way they're running the triple option right now. Their
They
running
are
back looks like Brandon Jacobs in his prime. Their quarterback can actually throw the ball. I don't know what offense this is or who they recruited to West Point to the Army Academy, but I mean they're unbelievable, and I really really hope that Army was the group of like if I had a pick of any group of five school, I hope Army would do it.
Could you imagine you play the whole season, you get into the playoff, and your prize is you have to start preparing for Army
Yeah, you have to
or
go. Hey,
Navy,
guess what? Not only do you have to prepare for one of the harder offenses in all of college football, but the running back runs a 4.4 and
right? And
could
he's
could pull a 18 wheeler behind him as he's doing it.
right. And the other thing that I like is if they stay on their current trajectory, obviously you said Navy plays Notre Dame or Do you say Army plays Notre Dame or Navy
No,
plays Notre Dame?
Navy does. I don't think Army does.
If they can get to the Army Navy game with one loss apiece, or maybe just zero losses, that could be a playoff game. Could you
Yeah,
imagine how electric the Army Navy game, already one of the best weekends of college football, if
yeah,
that
for
has
sure.
playoff implications,
Yeah,
that game, oh my God, that would be
I
insane.
as a college football enthusiast, I legitimately am getting chills right now, even just talking about it. Like, because all of the fanfare, right? Like, I mean, like, I know you got like your cousin, right? But I like legitimately get in my feels when I watch the CBS intros every year about how it all started the same way and how they all receive a letter that they were going to the service academy. And yeah, it's just I love that game. It's one of my favorite parts of college football. And if they could even go to the playoffs, I even whether Notre Dame was in there or not, like I'd be cheering for them. So really excited. Hope that they do continue. Hope that running back is legit and possibly the next Ashton Genty. But yeah, no, that was like I saw that and I was like, yeah, that this has to be my winner. So
Yeah. So I wanted to go a bit of a different route this week. We have a lot of fun on this podcast. It's a great time talking with you boys, but I do think that we'd be remiss to not discuss what did happen this past weekend with Hurricane Helene and the true devastation that she wrecked all up the Appalachian Mountain Trail, going up through Georgia, over Greenville, where I am right now. Like we were right in the middle of the eye of the storm. Um, and then just the horrific stuff that's going on in Western Carolina right now, Nashville and all over there. It's unfathomable to think what the devastation that this storm has wrought. Um, I know that there has been a lot of talk about Clemson's whole shtick with playing their game on Saturday. Some people being upset, thinking that it was taking away resources um, from those who did not have power and who needed help, and maybe in some ways it was. I do know from talking with people who, you know, in my area, who they were going to the game that day, locals, because that was the only place they could get a hot meal. That was the only place that they could, have a little bit of joy after the sadness that this storm wrought, because they've got a tree on their house and no power. Where there are still people without power. So I'm just really wanting to put out thoughts and prayers for all those who have been negatively affected by this storm. Again, pointing out those who know me in the area, where our house is open, trying to help out anyone that we can. This is a time for communities to come together, and I'm very proud of my area and of the other areas that I've heard about up in Asheville, all up and down where the storm hit. People coming together and being true neighbors, true human beings to each other, and I just want to applaud the American spirit in that, applaud um, the efforts that people have done to help their neighbors, to help those around them that they don't know, um, and say that this is, in this time, we're a football podcast. That's all I feel qualified for, and I don't even know if I'm qualified for that. But I hope we can bring a little bit of joy to those who are tuning in on this, who have gone through similar experiences, and just know that we're thinking of everybody that we can, everybody that we know, don't know, and I just wanted to make sure that that was touched on in this podcast today. So thank you guys.
yeah, thoughts and prayers. And like I think like if you're wondering how that relates, I think that sports is one of the great unifiers that this country does still have. You find bonds with people that when you play sports, I know I can speak from with people that you may have never been friends with or people that you would have never talked to and you get to build relationships with people. I think it's the same thing with fandom. Like obviously you guys are Clemson fans, but we're very, very close either or. So I think that being that sports is such a great unifier, and that it was such like a large mainstream event, like disaster, I think that's why like it's important to touch on. So thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I mean, there are some thoughts that I have on the whole situation that I don't want to get into just because it makes me upset. But um, I love the fact that people that band together and help each other out when no one else will. Thoughts and prayers to everyone affected. Hopefully, like I know a ton of people at App State that are dealing with it. Um, it's tough, and hopefully, it's not too long lasting, and we can get these people the help that they need. And just thoughts and prayers go out to everyone impacted.
And there are opportunities if you are able to help, um, donating, sending food, water, whatever you can.
Dave,
Um,
David, do you have a link for anything that you like any links that we can donate to? Maybe we can throw that in like the episode description as well.
yep. And I will. I do have a link to a t-shirt that one of my friends has made to raise money to send over to those that were affected by the storm. So I will include that in the link description of for this show. No pressure for anyone to donate if you can't, but just continuing to think about those who are affected by this storm. I will do whatever I can to help those that I can. So with that, let's bring some joy and let's talk about some football. Nick, I want to talk about picks. Let's go.
Let's do it. Alrighty. So last week, David dropped a game. Um, you guys are just keep flirting with the tying first and not, and then there's just me. So I'll get there.
It was a bad week for me too. I thought I was going strong there, starting off 1-0. I was feeling it, and then slowly that dissipated. So
Mm, and boys, it finally happened. The overhit in the Florida State game. I have been released of my curse of picking them for every my self-imposed curse for every game until DJ either got benched or the overhit. It
also he's
happened.
hurt too.
Both things happened. He is now hurt with an injury and out for this game against Clemson. So um, that streak has now ended, and I can move my sights onto a different team to pick unders for.
Great.
Yeah, here comes the Iowa pick.
That's the
100%.
thing. Just because my team law didn't make the under does not mean we give up on the under, boys. We keep it strong.
It's a bold pick this week because Ohio State is playing them. I hope you know
Yeah,
that.
and the over under is 45, which they average game.
It's all right. They played what four preseason games, so now they play a real Hawkeye defense. Let's go.
Yeah.
And with that, let's go to the locks. I love what Kurt Signetti is building in Bloomington. I think, honestly, I think Indiana can do some real damage in the Big Ten. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they get any of the major Big Ten powers this year. I think that
I'm
they
gonna
got
look.
very lucky with the schedule.
I'm gonna look
I
for you. Hold on.
I think Indiana's electric. Um, I think Northwestern's bad. I think this is an easy 14 points. I think they win by 25 minimum. So give me the Hoosiers. We're a football school this week, not a basketball school. So give me Indiana.
They do have
Yeah, so
Ohio State. They're at Ohio
yeah,
State November 23rd.
and then
Okay.
they have
So
Michigan at home. Those are the two
so I was
big
just
ones.
completely wrong. I was just completely wrong. Scratch that. Surprise, surprise. I was wrong this year. Um,
I'm not surprised at this point.
You just also faded the next Nick Saban. So now that his career is going to be over after next week, it was nice knowing you, Kurt Signetti. I still don't know how to pronounce his last name. I just
I'll have to take
know his
this
first name Kurt.
next
But
pick. Next pick.
Don't let it distract you from the fact that currently Indiana's number one in the Big Ten standings.
also, look at this logo. I know we've talked about it. I just love the Army logo. Yeah, I'm high on the Service Academy, so I wanted to use this theme on my first pick. Lock of the week is Army minus 12.5 versus Tulsa. Don't know anything about Tulsa. Don't know anything about really Army really other than the highlights that I saw and the fact that they could go to the playoffs where they run the table. So this is kind of just me manifesting it. Army minus 12.5.
No offense to Tulsa, we're fading Hurricanes this week.
Yes, yes, true. Also, yeah, didn't do that on purpose, but yes, if our show wasn't going to get canceled by YouTube, I would say something different.
Hell, you're
Cancel the
next.
Hurricanes.
Well, you
Go
know
for
what,
it.
Joe? I love the Service Academy pick. So you know what? I'm gonna double down. Give me Navy minus 10 versus Air
Yes,
Force. That offense electric, that defense still top notch. I'm rooting for Navy and Army to be in that conversation at the end of the year. Let's will it into existence and make it happen.
I love it. Didn't even see your pick, so that was such a surprise. Love it.
Next up, we got our pick'ems. Um, sorry, Met game. Arizona State over Kansas. I Kansas is bad, guys. They're just a bad football team. Um, Arizona
I'm
State, I
sorry that
think,
I made them. I'm sorry that I ever jumped on that train this year.
I think that Arizona State should win this game. I don't know too much about it other than the fact that I just don't believe in Kansas. I think that I don't know what's the problem is there, but they had such a good momentum last year and they just lost it all. So give me the Sun Devils. I think Arizona State wins this game.
Just to be clear, I'm out on KU. Eli Holston talked about him, the cardiac kids, some people are calling them. Give me Pitt. I think UNC has nothing going for them. We'll see how long this Mac Brown experience continues. I think every week is a Mac Brown
Retirement
watch
watch.
watch party to see if he quits his job or not. So give me Pitt here. It seems like an easy pick for a pick 'em, but the easy ones are always the hardest. So I'm ready to lose this game.
You Washington over Michigan. I'm a Michigan hater, so I'm just going to keep it going. I need them to start losing. For my bold start of season prediction that Michigan, Penn State, and Florida State all end the season outside of the top 25. So I need that to happen here. Give me the Huskies.
Is this game in Seattle or is it in
I'm pretty
Ann
sure it's
Arbor?
in Seattle. Let me
This
look.
is
Let me.
When's the last time that we had? I mean,
Yeah, it's in
obviously, I think
Seattle.
it's. I think this is the first time since we had LSU Bama that we've had. Or did they play the year after they played in the Natty or Georgia Bama? This is like the first year we've had a rematch of the Natty in a while, right? As a conference
I
game. It's
I can't I don't know that to be factual, but it does feel that way. Yeah, for sure.
been a
Even if
long
it's not
time,
Times are here.
completely factual, it does
and it's
feel that way. It feels like it's been a
crazy
while.
that these two were the national championship teams last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy upsets, which is what I am right now. I need to do better at picking. Duke over Georgia Tech. This line when I first picked it was at Duke +7. I'm actually surprised that it's swinging towards Georgia Tech. Duke's good, guys. Duke is just good. They fell behind to UNC and they came back and won. I think Georgia Tech's best wins are over a Florida State team that we all know sucks. And did they beat? I forget. Did they beat Syracuse or did they lose to Syracuse?
I think they lost
Lost.
to Syracuse by
Yeah,
three.
so their best win is over Florida State. I don't think Georgia. I think Georgia Tech's getting the benefit of the doubt here. I think Duke wins this game. I really do. I'm shocked that it's grown to +9 since I picked it. So give me the Blue Devils.
Um, don't feel super confident in this pick because I don't know. I feel like Missouri's played a lot of close games this year that should not have been close, but give me Mizzou here. Sticking with my pick of last year. Was it last week BYU played Baylor or was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, last week.
Last week. I'm sticking with the if you're ranked higher than the other team or just ranked at all, and you're an underdog, I'm gonna take you. It seems like a gimme. So Number 9, Mizzou over. Number 25, Texas A&M plus 2.5. Give it to me.
This one hurts. This one,
I'm
this one
shocked.
goes against every fiber of my being.
Are you
But you
disowned?
know what? You know what? I got I just have a feeling this is seeing what happened with Ole Miss last week, seeing how South Carolina has played as of recently. Um, this was the only upset that I felt good about happening, even though
And
to
also
say
they
the
beat
word feel good
Kentucky.
about doesn't actually apply here because I feel awful about it. So I'm gonna look at this game as either my pick hits and I'm gonna be happy because David knows ball, or South Carolina loses and I will be happy because of that. So I can't lose in this situation.
Also, I looked at this game just solely like for like 5 minutes today when I was making my picks, drinking my coffee, solely because South Carolina beat Kentucky and Kentucky beat Ole Miss. So therefore, in that
Transitive property.
equation, yeah, South Carolina should beat Ole Miss this week, but
We've
I
seen what
couldn't.
happens when Ole Miss plays a team with a pulse. I'm pretty
Is this
sure
game
this
in
game is
Columbia?
in. I think this game is in Columbia too, which
Ugh.
it's just, yeah. I don't think there's a lot going for Ole Miss here. Yeah,
For that great
it's in
offense,
Williams Brice.
for that great offense that everyone heralded, it didn't look like they knew what they were doing last week. It
David, I
was like
really hope you're
time
wrong,
they
but I
picked
have
up
a
the
feeling you're
football.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm wrong too, but sometimes you just got to call it like you call it.
I mean, I
Let's move
said it
on.
when you
I'm
sent the
tired. I'm
pick.
tired of this graphic. I
I
want to move
said it.
on.
I said it when you sent the pick. I hate that you picked it, but I understand why, and I don't blame you. Moving
Mhm.
on. Favorite subject,
Before we
over
get too
under.
much into the over-unders, I need some revisionist history brought up here. Going into the weekend, Nick picked the App State Liberty game for his over-under, and then obviously a Hurricane
I
Helene
did.
happened, and that game uh, had to get canceled because the stadium was underwater. So in my opinion, the under hit because no points were scored, but
I
we
give
allowed
it
him
to
to
you.
pick
Game
another
play.
team.
Did the game start?
Nope.
Doesn't matter.
But the game was isn't postponed. It is canceled,
Fact,
so that means that
fact,
it will not
fact or
happen.
fiction?
So
Fact or
0
fiction?
points.
Fact or
Fair
fiction?
foul. Fair, David.
Hold
Fair
on, hold on.
foul.
Hold on. No, no, no. Let me get this point
What say
out.
you?
Fact or fiction? Joe, you're a betting man, right?
I am.
Fact or fiction? When a game gets rained out, it's voided, right? You don't
It is
lose the
voided.
bet, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's canceled. It's push.
Are you trying to insinuate that we are a betting company here? Because we are not.
No.
Um,
What is the over
this does
under?
not fit my narrative, so I reject your narrative. I substitute my own. And no matter what, even though you
He just
well,
called you a degenerate without calling you
I
a
did
degenerate.
count. We did count your secondary pick. I just want to put on record
And it's still
that
lost. So it's
the under frickin' smashed for the App State Liberty game, and I want that on record.
so you want it on record that your narrative is benefiting from a hurricane. Got it.
Also,
In this one case, yes, I think I deserve it.
not not to derail this podcast further, but if you're the Mets fan, watch TV right now.
Wait, Tyron, are you ahead of me?
Two, one out, two on base.
No,
You
I've no
yeah.
outs. You are ahead of me. All right, hold on. All right, over under. I'll make this pick. Well, I'm in on the academies too. Navy.
Look at
David said it
you.
earlier. Navy's offense is electric. I don't know anything about Air Force, but
They're
I wanted to
horrendous
get
this
in
year.
on the party. So give me the over 35 and a half Navy Air Force.
Air Force is
Next
bad.
gen stats here. So far this season, Nick has picked two over under games in which I have picked it for another pick. My picks have both hit on both those times, and Nick's has failed. So in that case, you might want to smash the under.
Yeah. Mizzou, Texas A&M, keep it short. This game is on. Um, over 48 and a half here. I think this is going to be fireworks. Texas A&M looks competent again. Missouri has one of the best wide receivers in the country. So it seems like a gimme as well.
Joe doubling down on Mizzou A&M. Interesting.
There was no
He's
good games on
the
this
only game
weekend.
he's going to pay attention to this week.
Yeah, yeah. Be ultra focused while I'm at a wedding.
All right, let's get it over with.
I am picking the Iowa Ohio State under. It got to go back to your roots while you're reeling. So we're gonna go and just trust that Iowa's defense will show up, and I will be scouting out other talent because I don't want to do the same narrative for the entire year. With Iowa, I feel like that's a bit of a cheat code most weeks, so I'm gonna find somebody else to pick my under going forward. But this week, given everything, I'm gonna roll with my Hawkeyes one more time.
Tell you what, this would be electric if you're under missed 2 weeks in a row. I'm just going to point that out there. So
What is
come on,
going
Ohio
on?
State. I think
Well,
they tried to
I think that's
intentionally
all we've
walk him,
got.
and
Now I'm going to bluster for another 20 minutes to make sure that Joe and Nick can't go watch their team play
I,
baseball.
they're
I'm
trying
sure
to.
they're very, very nervous
what is
about
going
all of
on?
that.
What?
And
Why
They
get
said
get
they were.
back in
They
the
said they were going to
dugout?
intentionally walk him, and then the manager said, "No, I don't want to." They're ducking
What?
Lindor.
As they should. He's the real MVP.
Yeah,
and those who watch this on Thursday at lunchtime and already know what happened, I am sorry that you have to deal with these two knuckleheads in this
yeah. They
case.
walked him.
But
They walked him.
anyway, go Tigers.
Yeah,
Let's
go
go Mets.
yeah, and go Mets.